Good afternoon, everybody. Uh, Now, what I really want you guys to, everybody to understand is shoulder is basically a mobile joint. It's a, on one side you have a joint which is highly mobile, and on the other side you have a it creates a problem by being too much unstable, right? And on the other side you have something which, yeah, yeah. So on the other side, you have a joint which is not able to, move that much, and that creates the problem for the patient too. So the two previous speakers, they really talked about the joint becoming too mobile, right? Dr. Sood talked about the joint becoming unstable, right? Too much of movement is occurring there. And Dr. Pandey talked about the joint not really moving that much because of the patient, but if somebody else moves it, the joint does move. What I will be talking about is a frozen shoulder or a adhesive capsulitis. Now, a majority of you will be seeing this condition, and it's relatively common in our setup with the diabetics. So how do we define it? American Academy of Orthopedic Surgeons, they have come up with a definition, in as it is with all medical conditions, a condition of varying severity characterized by gradual development of global limitation of active and passive shoulder motion. So what does this mean is, active is something which the patient is able to do, right? And passive is what somebody else is doing for the patient, right? So this is the limitation in active as well as passive, right? So as compared to what Dr. Pandey was saying, that patient may not be able to move the shoulder, but if somebody else moves it, right, the movement becomes full. In your adhesive capsulitis, neither the patient is able to do it, and nor if somebody else is able to do it. And radiological findings are basically nothing, just an osteopenia is there. So if you see in this slide, there's a loss of passive range of motion. The individual is not able to do. Actively, patient is not able to do. If somebody else tries to move the shoulder, that is also not possible. So this condition has basically got a pain component and a stiffness component, right? And there is a loss of mobility of the shoulder. Now, how do you compare it with the other shoulder problems? So on your left upper side, you have a frozen shoulder wherein the capsule is absolutely tightened up. It is not able to move at all, right? And on the second side, you have rheumatoid arthritic shoulder, right? So synovium is gone, joint is obliterated, joint is badly affected. In your left lower side, if you can see, there is bursitis, right? So if bursa gets inflamed, right, the movements will be affected, right? So that is the third part. And in the last part, that is osteoarthritis of the shoulder. What you have is that the shoulder joint is affected, the synovium, the capsule that is covering that shoulder joint, that remains more or less fine. So these are four different types of pathologies having stiffness, but the cause can be different. So coming to the etiology, as you can see in the figure, right, so there is an inflamed and contracted capsule. There's nothing wrong with the joint. The joint is absolutely fine, but the covering that is there around the shoulder, that is not able to make the joint move at all, whether the patient wants to move it or somebody else wants to move it. So this is a classical thing about a frozen shoulder. So how can it be? Firstly, trauma. Secondly, surgery, which can be either of the shoulder joint or any other, right? A patient having undergone open heart surgery does complain of frozen shoulder. Inflammatory diseases, diabetes mellitus, right? So this condition is seen quite a bit in diabetes patients, and if you do it otherwise, see how many patients have got frozen shoulder and try to find out whether they are diabetics or not. You'll be able to pick out fresh diabetic patients in such cases, about 30%. Regional conditions, certain and various shoulder maladies are there. So as it's with any kind of a disease, frozen shoulder or adhesive capsulitis also has a natural, thing where it progression. So what we need to understand is that frozen shoulder is a long drawn thing. It has got years and years of problem which can affect the patient. So please be patient with these patients, right? Tell them that this thing will take a long time. First stage is freezing, which is actually painful and where it can go up to about 9 months. Second stage is frozen when it starts stiffening up, right? So the patient is not able to do that many activities as the patient was able to do prior to be coming to this stage. Stage 3 is that slowly and slowly the inflammatory things they kind of settle down and the patient again starts to move the shoulder much. And the last thing is that few years down the line the other shoulder starts getting affected. So these are the natural progression of adhesive capsulitis, and you do need to understand that whatever you do, it will take long time to take care of this problem, to treat this problem. So initially the patient starts with pain, then there's stiffness, and then the thawing out, which can extend to, in this case it has more than 2 years, but it can, yes, linger on for a longer time also. So what are the problems that the patient is going to say? Anything which presses onto the shoulder, that is going to cause pain. Patient will say, I'm not able to sleep on the affected side. Wearing clothes, combing hair, trying to put soap at back of your in the back of your shoulder, that becomes extremely painful. Even simple thing like taking care of your personal hygiene, that becomes a problem, especially in our scenario where we use hands for personal hygiene. The patient is not able to internally rotate the shoulder. How is he able to going to take care of himself? So these are basic things which affect the shoulder. The lady will say, I'm not able to reach out to the kitchen to take masale ka dibba from the top of the shelf. So these are the things that the patient will complain of. So the basic non-operative management will be non-steroids, then prednisolone. You can use steroid orally as well as inside the joint, and physiotherapy can be there for either it can be inside the clinic or at home base. So these are some of the exercises. Basically you do need to move. They will be helpful in the first stage, right? And then gradually it can be done at home also. So before I go to the operations, right, what are the contraindications? First and foremost, neurological complication. It should not be done less than 3 months of conservative therapy if there is an infection, and if there is a gliohumeral osteoarthritis, and if there is a oncological process. So the operation that I'm talking about is arthroscopic release of frozen shoulder. And we'll just play this video. As you can see, there is a inflamed joint all around, right? That redness is all inflammation, and okay, so we are not having problems. So what we do is basically the shoulder has got an anterior part and the posterior part, right? So we take care, we remove this inflamed area. The synovium is cut arthroscopically inside, right, and posteriorly, right, and that basically the contraction that has occurred inside, that releases it. So the shoulder gets a better range of movement. So this is basically what you do need to understand about frozen shoulder, that it's a long drawn thing, nothing to get apprehensive about. It does take care, and in some cases where patient wants to go for a speedy recovery, then arthroscopic release is a good idea. Thank you so much for your patient listening.